All right. Here with Brother Larry. What's happening, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you, sir?
Good, good. So Larry Corban, Pylon brother of mine, a practitioner of Tai Chi, as well as a very established guitar player. Has gotten his chops, and it speaks for itself. So definitely check him out. The link will be at the bottom, larrycorban.com, right?
Yep.
And he actually has a gig coming up on
Earth Day, April 22nd, from 7 to 7:45. It's going to be Jazz Forum at Home. You can tune into it on Facebook, actually. And it's a public forum. Just look up Jazz Forum and Jazz Forum at Home, and then Larry Corban, April 22nd, Earth Day. And it's a red hot band. If you're a jazz fan, you know, Harvey S., James Weidman, and Steve Johns are going to be the band. So it's...
Those guys are awesome.
Can't wait to do it.
Yeah,
really excited.
You're in for a treat, for sure.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, hope you can make it.
And I've seen you guys play many, many times. And one of the things that is sort of what I see is similar in the jazz that you play is how we move in the Tai Chi. So the way we link the forms and the sort of the synergy that happens naturally from one transition to the next is sort of similar to how you guys perform.
Yeah, what's jazz is really like kind of the best form of democracy. It's like the way I think of it, a really good solid jazz ensemble works like a round table conversation where it's like you got somebody that's like leading the conversation, but anybody can comment at any time within the conversation and either take the reins and lead the conversation or just support it and just add nuance to whatever's happening. So it's very similar to Tai Chi, you know, when you're like doing push hands, you know what I mean? Like you have to feel like where your opponent is moving and going. And in order to do that, you have to have like listening training, body listening training. The Tai Chi, it gives you that similar sensitivity that you apply to your listening skills while you're performing as a jazz musician. And that's why, you know, during this pandemic, you know, it's like been hard because it's that synergy at work that is like a muscle that, you know, is being underused when you're not working, gigging on a regular basis. But to get back to topic, yes, the key with jazz, it's like the ultimate democracy. It's the ultimate, you know, roundtable conversation, kind of like what we're doing here. We're just exchanging ideas. This to me is very much like a jazz kind of environment in that sense. So it's like you can kind of go in any direction at any time. That's the spontaneity. That's what jazz is. To me, jazz defines spontaneity. And that's how I feel like Pylon, you know, kind of puts you in that centered focus of the moment that allows you to kind of let that spontaneity take you places you've never been to before.
Yes. Right on, and that's thank you for bringing that out because that's one of the things that we sort of pride ourselves on. Where you know we may have an idea going into a class or into a session, but then once people start to move and experience it, it can very easily take on a life of its own and go into a different realm. One of the things I wanted to ask you in regards to music, as it relates to what we do in Pylon, is during the pandemic, it was a bit of a challenge for me to teach online, to put things out electronically, you know, through Zoom on the internet or YouTube, what have you, because over my upbringing in Pylon, it was always an in-person live experience, right? Similar, I would imagine, to live music, playing live in front of an audience and feeding off of the audience as well as the other musicians. So has there been any challenges that you had that you've overcome doing it that way, or do you still feel that live is the way that you need to go?
Well, you know, what's good now is live is starting to come back, and there's more, you know, opportunities, I guess, to get, you know, get those muscles up and working. I was thinking about that today, you know, like the best way to kind of keep your live chops probably, you know, in working order is to play a lot with records and play with a lot of different records. You know, where you just put on a playlist, I call them records, but put on a playlist on Spotify, for example, and then try and figure out the tune as it's going by and see how fast you can do that. And then don't stop. Go to the next tune and then get used to get those listening muscles where they're activated and you're immediately hearing something and playing it. So you get it to the point where everything you hear, you can play right away. And then when you go back to playing live with other people, you're just, that muscle's still being worked in a certain kind of way. So it's like, I guess with Tai Chi, it would be like, the problem with just doing it with teaching video, you can't push hands with the person. You can't actually work technique. You have to use your imagination of like how it would work if it was done, like in freeze frame kind of a motion. And it depends on how active your imagination is in that regard. Like I guess if you're a very experienced practitioner, like you can do that kind of practice in your mind. Yeah. But to try and teach a new student that is like putting the cart before the horse. You got to do the push hands together before you can start thinking about what push hands would feel like on a technique.
Indeed, and that's why we have workshops. We have a lot of workshops coming up, in-person workshops. We're going to be doing a lot of live stream, and putting out the form. So if you can work out the form, the forms, the exercises, and as Larry had mentioned, put on a playlist, right? So one of the things that we've always done in Tai Lung is practice with music. Music that you like, music that you understand and know the timing, and can feel the movements, right? Tai Chi typically is done very slow, but you don't learn it slow. You learn it in real time as music would be played in real time, right? If you end up slowing it down, that's really to fine tune it and to get all the different nuances. But when you actually play and you actually move, it's in a real time.
Right, and the thing about this is that like the real-time training, like that's the thing Payne used to talk about. It's like, don't think about it as like practice as much as it's like a lifestyle. Like you practice a move and then you're doing your laundry, or you're cooking something and then you like all of a sudden like slip into a rollback, or maybe your husband goes to touch you, or you're playing around and then you move out of the way in a certain way. Like you figure out ways to apply the Tai Chi to
Right.
what's going on in your life, which means like streamlining. To me, it's just like, using effortless power to your maximum ability. And, effortless mastery in motion, like just you're moving without any preconception at that point. So you're in a flow. And that's what you're trying to achieve, like even like in trading ideas creatively, you want to come in with an open mind, an open slate in order to see what comes out of the interaction. Because if you show up with an agenda, like for example, like you have like a strict bullet point script that you're going to follow for your class, like you're handcuffed to it at that point. With this, it allows you to just kind of improvise. And that's the best thing about Tai Chi, and what I see to like the connection with jazz and Tai Chi is just that ability to be spontaneous and improvise, like kind of go with the flow of what's in the moment and then play that to its maximum ability with no effort whatsoever. And
Right.
just be able to just kind of like speak your mind in a way that maybe you've never planned before, but it's going to take you to a place that you haven't even tried to go to yet. So that's the blessing right there.
All right. Indeed. Thank you for that. And one final question. When it comes to therapy, relaxing, meditation, in a sense, how does the music do that for you? Because for me, what I do in order to relax or to de-stress and to think, I need to move. So I plug in the forms. It doesn't matter what form it is, but I find that when my body's moving, it clarifies my thought process. It helps regulate my breathing and posture, and I just feel better after just a few minutes, or just beginning to move into the form. I feel better.
Well,
Does music do that for you?
one thing Payne used to talk about in a class is like sneezing through your palm when you strike. So what you're connecting to is your breath energy. You're not actually using force or muscle strength. It's not about like using torque energy. You're actually like using breath energy with maximum electricity. And then that's the same thing with the music. It's like if you can connect what you're hearing to your voice, it becomes an extension of your singing voice. So your ear like dictates what you're going to play, not the other way around. Like you end up reaching into the instrument, finding new things based on your singing voice, based on what you're hearing, and it becomes, that's breath energy. When you think about it, singing is breath energy, which is chi, which is Tai Chi. So the connection of your explosive breath energy can also be put behind a note, and then you have something as spectacular as an Eddie Van Halen or a Jimi Hendrix when you hear them play. Their sound becomes a force of nature because you're connecting to that breath energy in such a way that's just like ecstatic, that like will draw you in like nothing else, And that to me was the most addictive quality of like hearing music and playing guitar, was that like force that you're just connecting with. And really that's chi, that's breath energy, and
Right on.
You can follow that same, Eddie put it in name of one of his tunes, Eruption. Mm-hmm. Think of a volcano, that's his breath energy just going boom, And then the connection to that in the martial arts is Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. Like from 1 inch he can like explode and throw you back 7 feet, 10 feet,
Pie's hand.
Pie's hand, yeah. So there's connections with all this stuff. It's like electricity of breath energy.
All right. Very cool. Well, awesome. I know you're out of time. We're out of time. But do check out Larry, the
April 22nd,
Earth Day. I will be there. I will be logged in and checking it out. Check him out online as well, LarryCorban.com. And
Corban, LarryCorban.com. So,
and then our next workshop. So we're going to get Larry to come and start training with us again. We're going to announce the next workshop now that the spring is here. We'll most likely be doing it outside. Location TBD, date TBD, but we will let you know for sure. And Larry, as always, thank you, brother.
Cheers.
And
Thank you.
See you soon.
See you soon. All right.
Take care.